from. Tell your girl she can kick it if she wants some, but we got no time to waste.
Welcome to 4AZ. I'm your host, Tyler McDowell Blanken, and we have reached the conclusion of our 4-part winter film series. As promised, this is part 4, in which Sarah Beth and Mike Steph are with me for our special extended exit ticket episode. We have at least 3 final school-related or school-adjacent films that we're going to discuss. We're going to begin with 2000's Bring It On, 2004's Meangirls, and 2007's Superbad. Now, don't get it twisted. We love the decade that was the 90s, but we spoke about films from the 80s. Shout out Bustin' Loose, episode 1, The Outsiders, episode 2, and then School Days from episode 3. But now we are squarely moving to the 2000s. Sarah Beth, Mike Steph, you know the plan. Rather than a review of each of these films, we are going to play an inaugural game here on 4AZ of buy, rent, or pass. Looking at these 3 films, I want you to choose one of the 3 that you would buy, that you enjoy the most, that you need to have in your collection, back when we had DVDs in the 2000s. A film that you would rent. Okay, you would watch it at least once, maybe on a Friday night, maybe rent that from Blockbuster. I've never felt older in my life. Especially not here on this podcast. And then finally, it's inherent in the name, one of these 3 films that you would pass on. You're just, you're okay. You're okay missing out on it for whatever reason that you choose to share with us or to not share. Don't want the internet coming after you. Let's start with Mike Steph. Mike, Bring It On, Meangirls, and Superbad. Buy, rent, pass. What say you?
Okay. First and foremost, Bring It On would be an instant buy, because I'm going to admit it. I love Bring It On. I've watched all iterations of Bring It On. Bring It On, Bring It On again, Bring It On, All of Nothing, Bring It On, whatever, Make Laugh Forever. I don't remember, but all the iterations of Bring It On, the one with Kirsten Dunst and Eliza Dushku, I believe her name was, and then you had Gabrielle Union. Was that her debut? I don't think it was her debut, but still, her.
It was for me.
Yeah. So then they had the Christina Millian version, and then we had the no name version that was pretty much straight to video. But
do you remember Love Don't Cost a Thing? By the way, sorry, I got excited when I heard Christina Millian. Christina Millian, Nick Cannon, Love Don't Cost a Thing. One of my childhood crushes, Christina Milian. This is true.
Oh, so you like Dip It Low, huh? Dip It Low.
I had that on my iPod. I had that on my iPod Nano. I sure did.
So you were saying, pop, pop, pop that thing.
Okay, I should not have interrupted. Mike Steph, please continue to cook. Sarah Beth, I cut you off as well. Sorry. Christina Milian's brought up. I can't be objective. I got to insert my opinion. You know me.
The no name one, that's the one I think with Hayden Panettiere, right? Where she like step dances, or is that a different? I've seen that one.
No, I want to say that was either, I think that was the third one. That was the third one. I think it went from Kirsten Dunst to Christina Milian to Hayden Panettiere. And then it was like 2 after that I'm like, I don't know these people, but the plot.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the first 3 for sure.
They had what was that dance craze in the West? Crumping. Yes, the crumping. Yeah, that was crazy. But now for rent, I would say Superbad. That's another one of my favorites. Especially there's a lot of parts in that movie that really popped me. So that would be my rent, and pass only by default would be Meangirls, because I love Bring It On and Superbad so much. Because Superbad and Bring It On are actually owned on DVD. Meangirls are just like, all right, it was on cable. I watched it. I don't think we rented it, but yeah. That would be my pass just by default. Are we talking about? Yeah, we're talking about the original Meangirls, not the redo Meangirls, right? The original with Lindsay Lohan.
We're talking originals.
Oh,
the classic.
That's crazy. The Lohan era. I'm glad she made it out. But still, that was a crazy era back in there. Her and Paris Hilton and
Nicole Richie.
who is the other one? Yeah, Nicole Richie. Yeah, those are some days. But
I
Rent,
had their
Pass.
show on DVD, A Simple Life, with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. I was a super fan. When I tell you, I know this is a big development. When I tell you both, that was my jam. I was bought into reality TV back then. On DVD, America's Next Top Model. Don't play with me. Come on now.
Eva.
You have a question, Mike Steph?
No, I was just
Eva
saying
Pigford.
American Next Top
The
Model.
great
Eva,
Eva Pigford. Yes.
yeah,
okay.
that was the favorite.
This might be
I
my
mean, that was
favorite
pretty
episode of our winter film series. Yeah, this is very.
yeah,
This is very
I was
good.
definitely a reality TV junkie.
Well, we got Mike Steph's picks. So, Mike, you're gonna buy Bring It On. I did not know that. I thought I knew you somewhat well. I did not know the Bring It On super fan in you. Bring It On, you're buying. Superbad, you're renting, and Mean Girls, you are passing on.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. That blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Yeah.
Still get spins over here.
It's not the first time you've done "Hey Mickey" on.
I
the
think
podcast.
yeah.
I feel
You're
like
right,
you, I
Sarah Beth.
feel like I think you did it when we did the when we talked about the karaoke episode of Abbott. I feel like that's not.
Oh,
the first
wow.
time.
They did. Did I? Yeah, might have.
I feel like you did.
Research team.
I guess that's what
have
the kids call a bop.
We have never felt older on this podcast. Sarah Beth, buy, rent, pass.
I'm with Mike on the buy. Bring It On. Like, I knew immediately. That movie is just like a solid rom-com. It's hilarious. Everything about it. I remember when it came out, and I was a cheerleader back in the day, way back in the day, and I remember our cheerleading coach like taking us to the movie. And so like it just being like this really cool. The other teacher on my team constantly were quoting it. Like she's constantly quoting every movie. That's like her thing. And so like I constantly hear like the burr, it's cold in here. Like just something about Bring It On and like the late 90s, early 2000s, like that rom-com. You just can't beat it. My rent is Mean Girls. Just because I've seen both Mean Girls and Superbad. I don't think I've seen Superbad probably since it came out. Like it was just one where like thinking back on it, where I feel like the storyline within Mean Girls has really like more stood the test of time, and like just that relational with like the social dynamics, which seem to be like a huge topic that we've talked about all week with these high school movies. To where Superbad was really just more from what are like stupid humor, like the McLovin and things like that, where it's all very like funny, but it just does not have the same like relatable, like it's just one, again, I don't think I've seen it since it came out, to where I know I've at least seen Mean Girls since it came out. So Mean Girls is my rent, and pass would be Superbad, just because it very funny when I watched it, but I feel like it's just overdone. Like McLovin really had I feel the same way like about Napoleon Dynamite. I don't need to ever see it again just because it was so in your face.
That's incredibly thoughtful reasoning. I will not exhibit as such during my commentary here. I'm going to buy Superbad. I distinctly remember having this DVD. I'm quite sure it was a $5 Target bin purchase. I've seen this movie the most out of the three. You two have a really compelling argument for Bring It On. In fact, I think I need to rewatch that and then maybe revisit this conversation. I'm quite sure my family had Bring It On the DVD as well. The introduction of Gabrielle Union, all the reasons you two highlighted. Really classic film from 2000s and provides so much nostalgia. Mean Girls, so I'm going to Bring It On, just to clarify. Mean Girls, I'm going to pass on. In terms of what's aged the best, I would say Mean Girls is by far the most iconic. I do still see an occasional kid in a McLovin t-shirt, which always just bends my mind, because I think, wait, this came out in 2007? My man, you were chilling up in heaven, bro. There's no way you were born or even thought of when this film came out. But still, I don't necessarily see Mean Girls or Bring It On merch anymore. However, I do see I do see Superbad in terms of just existing in the zeitgeist, perhaps a bit more consistently than I do Bring It On or Mean Girls. I'm going to pass on Mean Girls, but I totally acknowledge and respect how iconic it was, how it's still quoted. I'm probably not giving it its just due, how it's still quoted in reference. Isn't that the We Wear Pink on Wednesdays or You Can't Sit With Us? Yeah, maybe I'm not giving it its just due. It is iconic. I'm going to pass on it though, regardless. This is my list. I'm going to say it with my chest. I also want to say the names of some of our audience who really showed up and showed out for us. So for Mean Girls, a big shout out to former guest Rudy. She's at the Hidden Way Pod. Rudy, thank you for your Mean Girls shout out. I know you also really enjoy School of Rock. The whole Jack Black era was definitely a thing that I remember vividly. I also want to show love to Maddie, fellow Sunny Slope Viking. She's at Mrs.Maddie, MADI.McD, MCD. She gave us the recommendation for Superbad. I think she also mentioned High School Musical. She loves Bring It On. She came through with a lot of recommendations in the DMs. Shout out, Maddie. And then finally, former student shout out, the great Munya Khatib, who is an Arizona State Sun Devil right now. She is studying to become a teacher. We love Munya. She gave us the shout out for 1996's Matilda. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Matilda on this episode. Sarah Beth, Mike Steph, I think you may have thoughts on this film. I even had the VHS of it back in the day. She was telling me, reminding me about Miss Honey and the characters and Matilda's telepathic powers, something like that. Anyway, it's a classic. We love Munya here. Want to give a shout out. Sarah Beth, Mike Steph, final thoughts on Matilda or any of the three films or any films we omitted, or if you want to talk about Christina Millian. That also works by me too. Child
Do
crush
you
turned
want to
into
talk about
adult crush.
Christina Millian?
I mean, I could, but I want to respect your time and the conclusion of this winter film series. That can be a different podcast.
Not all of that. I mean, those are all also great. School of Rock, Matilda, like just all solid choices. It's funny, like when we started talking about this concept, I really didn't realize like how many movies could really fall into, because we had started kind of just like as a joke, we had talked about like Stand and Deliver, like all those movies that like your teachers play like when you're going to be out sick. Like I think I saw Stand and Deliver every year in high
Freedom
school.
Riders.
I've actually never seen Freedom Riders. It's one of the ones I have dodged. But just like those pieces of like when we started this conversation around it, like we really were looking at teachers like Miss Honey or the teacher from like Stand and Deliver. And I think the way in which we've really been more like student focused and like those pieces on really, even though we've talked about movies in the 80s, the early 2000s, and even now in, 2025, 2026, when this airs, like, even though a lot of the things are different, like the things that kids are still going through are the same. And so like these stories still stand the test of time, even though pieces would be very different. And there's pieces people maybe wouldn't relate to. And so I just really enjoyed getting to talk about movies with you guys these last few days.
The feeling is mutual. Thank you so much. Mike Steph.
There's two movies that I'll give honorable mention, at least on my half. These are both in the 80s, because that's kind of like my spot. Would be 3 O'Clock High, which is something I really forgot to add to the list of what we needed to watch. I love 3 O'Clock High. It has a young Richard Tyson as Buddy Lavelle, like a throwback. Which I guess if he was in The Outsiders, he'd be Greaser, But it had Jerry Zamesco. He was Jerry. It was. Trust me, Google 3 O'Clock High. I think came out in like 86, 87. You'll love it. And another movie, which is actually on the darker side of, actually two movies that are on the darker side of things. One would be The Principal, starring Jim. Was it Jim Belushi or John Belushi? Pretty much the Belushi. I think it was Jim Belushi. Jim Belushi, Louis Gossett Jr. and damn, I always forget his name, but he was in the 5 Heartbeats. That dude. Yeah, that was it was like pretty much one of the drug dealers took over the school, and Jim Belushi was the principal. He's like, I'm not taking it no more. He took back the school by force. So yeah, that was a good one. And last but not least, starring, why am I blanking? Because I just had it at the top of my head, and of course it's gone. So yeah, those two movies. Damn,
It,
I had it. I
it,
had it
it'd
right
be
there.
like that sometimes.
Right
I
there.
have some final words, and if it comes back to you, you jump right back in, Mike Steph.
Gotcha.
That's how we do it around here. Shout out to Lean on Me, by the way, as well. Classic film. That film actually is set where my mom went to high school, Eastside High School in Paterson, New Jersey. Love you, Ma. Shout out to you. Hopefully, you forgive me for not saying more words about this film or having a separate episode for it. But yeah, Lean on Me, of course, should be on this list as well. I want to give 2 final nods. The earlier mention of the great Munya Khatib. She is at Munya, MOUNIA KHETIB. Follow her, support her. And the word I was looking for Matilda as it relates to her powers is telekinetic. That is the word I was looking for earlier. Mike Steph, any final words? Did it come back to you? I knew it would. Close us out.
Yes. Wildcats, 1986, starring Goldie Hawn. She is a female football coach in the inner city of Chicago. Once again, one of my favorite movies. LL Cool J had a song on the soundtrack. The title song was Football. This is for the Kings, better than a diamond ring. Football. Yeah. Once again, Google it. You'll love it.
We come for the film commentary. We stay for Mike Steph's serenading. We got two moments of that on this episode. 2 moments in one episode. How blessed are we? This was a blast, you two. Thank you for kicking it with me and having these conversations about some of our favorite school-related films. We hope all of you watching and listening enjoyed these conversations, I should say, 4-part series as much as we did. We'd love to know what you think of any or all of these films. You can drop us a comment here on YouTube or reach us across the social spaces at 4AZ Teach. Speaking of which, stay plugged in with us on social for our Abbott schedule. Listen, you know Abbott is taking weeks off and has multiple breaks, and now they're going to use the local mall as their school. I don't know what's going on, but we will be back later this month now that we're in January for our standard, easy for me to say, Abbott 2-packs. Stay tuned. Cannot wait for those conversations. Have a great start to the new year, and we will see you all next time.